Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another video with On Point Politics. And today I'm going to talk about why I'm going to be the most accurate forecaster on election Twitter and election YouTube for this presidential election. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe if you want more content just like this. And so, what you see on your screen right here is not my official prediction, but what actually comes from the big data poll, which is run by Rich Barris himself. He's been an expert in this industry for many years. He's been around since basically 2004, 2008, if I'm not mistaken. And he's gotten really good polling numbers. In 2016, he predicted Trump was going to win. In 2020, he gave Biden the slight edge. And now he has Donald Trump up in his latest national poll, which I think actually just dropped today because the headline actually says August 1st. So I'm pretty sure this literally just came out today. And right now, Donald Trump, if you were to look at all the crosstab data and plug it into 538's demographic model and you averaged out the categories by age, gender, education, and race, this is the map you would get. Donald Trump would be winning the election with 313 electoral votes to Harris's 225 electoral votes. And we're going to be breaking down some of the crosstabs and some of the results that he put out. But I'm just here to say right now, I actually have New Hampshire closer. And he even in another video stated that he thinks Donald Trump's probably going to win Maine and New Hampshire with Robert Barnes on what are the odds. But guys, Kamala Harris is campaigning in New Hampshire this upcoming week. And this is only after her CNN interview. She's campaigning in New Hampshire. Now, people will say, oh, but Trump went to Florida. It's his home state. And he did it once in basically the last year or 6 months or so. Harris, if here's the problem. Right now, all these Nate Plastic, G. Elliott Morris, all these people claim Harris is up by 4 points in the popular vote, 5 points, 3 points. If Harris was actually ahead by that margin, she would not be going to New Hampshire. She wouldn't be going there. I'm just telling you guys right now, if she was really ahead by 3 to 4 points in the national popular vote, she would not be going to New Hampshire. It's just not, it just wouldn't be happening. But she's campaigning there because her internals probably show it close, like I have it competitive. And what I'm also doing is I'm taking all of the polls that are on RCP and other websites, and we put them together and we reweigh all of the party ID numbers to get an idea of what the electorate may possibly look like. And right now, Donald Trump is in the lead by around 2 points or so when you include Kennedy, who's going down after he endorsed Donald Trump. Undecideds are at an all-time low because I have something where the polls are also graded on how many undecideds they have, because honestly, if a poll has 25% undecideds, they didn't get it right sampled. Especially right now, there shouldn't be that many undecideds. And you see West and Stein are kind of polling right around where they're usually getting there. And Donald Trump is at around 48%. And Harris is sitting at her 45 number. And we're going to talk about Rich Barris's numbers because they show something pretty similar to what I have in this national average. Not exactly, but somewhat similar, because if we go to their matchups, Donald Trump in a head-to-head with undecideds is at 46.7%. Harris is at around 45.5%. And when you push for leaners, Donald Trump leads by 1.2% in the final polls. So the spread doesn't really change. If you include an other option, Donald Trump leads by the same amount. If you push for leaners, Donald Trump's lead goes down by 1. Harris versus Trump versus RFK versus other. Donald Trump leads by 0.9. When you push for leaners, 0.8. And when you include the full field, you basically get Trump plus 0.8. With leaners, Trump up 0.6. That's what you get from his results, right? What's interesting is besides the head-to-head pushed leaners, Harris is not getting above 45%, except here with around 46% when you include the other vote. So that's the interesting part. And obviously, it's not going to be a head-to-head. I wish he would have polled Harris versus Trump, Oliver at Weston Stein. I kind of wished he did that, because that would have been a little bit more convenient to right now. But Donald Trump is in the lead in the national popular vote. And if we look at their crosstabs, I mean, their sample size is pretty good. They do these interactive live calls. He is an expert at knowing all the demographics and weighs everything as best as he can. And he doesn't necessarily even rely on weighing too much just because he's able to get a good sample of the voter. He's able to get a good picture of them and without necessarily having to skew or weigh the numbers properly because they oversampled a certain amount by a lot. I mean, their 2016 and 2020 numbers can speak for themselves. They were the best pollster in Wisconsin. They got the Rust Belt right in 2016. Like it's just very, they've been the best, even more so than Rasmussen when it comes to the state polling. And even in 2020, I mean, they got pretty decent numbers in 2020, to be honest. I mean, if we could pull it up here, let me see if I can find it. If we go, this is also another interesting thing, too. So you'll see, like in 2020, in November, they had Biden at 49.4%, Trump at 45.3%. I want you to see something which is really interesting. We have our national average here, which weighs for the 2016 electorate. To be fair, we weighed for the 2016 electorate, and look what we get. We get Trump at Biden at 49.2% to Trump's 44. That's very similar to their final national poll. Very, very similar. They had Biden plus 4.1. That's very, very close. We had Biden plus 5.2. I mean, within a point, definitely better than a lot of these other people. And so when you look at our average for Biden, this is another interesting thing as well. When you look at the average for Trump and Biden, this is something that's funny. Our average, when you look at all the polls before Biden dropped out, literally when you go from July 21st to June 21st, the average is Trump at 46.2%, which is right around his 2016 performance. Biden was at 39.1%, and Kennedy was getting 7.4. Undecideds were at almost 5. West and Stein were both polling at about over 1%. If you look at their last poll from July, Barris has Trump at 46% and Biden's at 38.4%. The someone else is at 9.6% and undecideds are at an all-time low, presumably because the debate really hurt Joe Biden, and a lot of the undecideds broke for Donald Trump, which we probably would have found a similar trend in our data. So a pollster who's gotten all the races mostly correct in 2016 and 2020 and the national level has very similar numbers for all the scenarios that we have in our weighted averages. Again, guys, I'm just telling you, you can believe 538, you can believe all these other people, but I'm telling you right now, Harris is not up by 3 or 4 points. She's not. I don't care what anybody tells you. She's not up by 3 or 4 points. And when you get all of the demographic data, we'll go ahead and look at their crosstabs here. Trump in a head-to-head, we can look at this. In a head-to-head matchup, Donald Trump leads by 10 points with males, only trails with females by 6, which is far better than last cycle. 18 and 29, he's losing that by 10. He is only down with 30 to 44-year-olds by 1. He lost that demographic by 24 points. He loses some ground with 45 to 64 and 65 plus. He's leading by 5. And what he does is he also breaks down the age groups like this as well to get a better picture. So that's also good too. But I do like the fact he included this because a lot of the modelers tend to use this for whatever reason, even though we should be using this, to be honest. Race detail, white, Trump's up 10.4%. So it isn't decreased from 2020. But again, he has stated that Donald Trump's white support has always been underestimated in polling data and even in his, and that's just true. African Americans, Donald Trump is at 26% with leaners. That's a high number when you don't push for leaners. Trump's already at 22%. So everybody's saying, oh, Trump's not going to get 25% of the black vote. There's no way on point. Well, here you go. Here you go. One of the more accurate national pollsters has Donald Trump within 22 to 26 points of the African American vote. Harris is not even getting over 70% with undecideds. That's crazy. That actually brings room. Donald Trump were to win all the undecideds in a hypothetical, he'd be getting above 30, which proves my point that Trump getting 30% of the black vote is the best case scenario. Hispanics, Trump is at 45%, Harris at 55. That's way closer than 37-point margin victory that Biden got. Way closer. Trump is performing about 10 points better with them. Asians, he's within 10 points of them, and Biden won that group by 33. American Indian and Alaska Native, Trump is up even without undecideds. Trump is already up by 16. When you push, Trump's up by more than that. He's up by like 22, 23 points. Native Hawaiian slash Pacific Islander, Harris is up quite substantially with them. Others, race slash ethnicity, Harris is up by 5 when you push. By party, Trump and Harris are tied with independents without leaners. Here, they're tied completely, which kind of matches the map we have. Because if Harris is tied with independents, then, or Trump and Harris are tied with independents, then roughly this map would actually make sense. So even the demographic crosstabs averaged out from 538 are actually lining up with what I got here if they are tied. Trump winning 92% of Republicans, getting 9.5% of Democrats, and Harris is winning 90% of Democrats, and or I think it's okay, 90%. Okay, yeah, I get it. And she's winning 90% of Democrats, and 7.7% of Republicans are breaking for Trump. Usually the splits are pretty even. Biden actually had the slight edge last time, but it looks like Trump's going to have the slight edge on that, which is interesting. Gender by race. Trump is winning among white males by a bit. Same thing with white females. Trump's up by 6. Black men, Trump is at 37% with black men. And he is still at 16 with black women. That's pretty impressive numbers. Those are impressive numbers. Hispanic men, he's tied. Hispanic woman, Harris is leading by quite a bit. That's actually her second best demographic besides black females. Ideology, clearly there are more conservative voters than liberal voters, and they're breaking for Donald Trump a little bit less than the liberals are breaking for Harris. So that's kind of interesting. But again, there's way more conservatives, so they outnumber the liberals. And if Harris is not breaking with moderates by enough, it's not going to work out. If we go over here, let's see education. High score or less, Trump's up by 10. Some associate, Trump's up by 5, which is crazy. 4-year degree, Harris is up 10. Advanced slash post-grad is actually a smaller margin which than the 4-year slash grad, which is kind of interesting. I wouldn't have expected that. I would have expected that to be a bigger lead. In income, Harris leads by under 30. Trump is up with 30 to 49. 50 to 99, Trump's up by a bit. 100 to 199, Trump's up by a bit, and then Harris is tied. Employment, employed working full-time, Trump is tied. Employed working part-time, Harris is up. Interesting. Unemployed but looking, Trump is up by 4. Unemployed but not looking, Trump is still up. Disabled, Trump's actually up by 8 points, 7-8 points. And student, Harris is up by double digits. Retired, Trump's up 3. Union, Harris is up with them, not by a lot. I mean, only by a little bit. That's not good. That's really not great. We look at the religious breakdown. Protestant, Trump's up by over 20 points with them. Catholics, Trump's tied with Catholics, which is way better because Biden won that group by a bit. Christian, Baptist, Lutheran, Methodist, Adventist. Well, technically I am Baptist, so I would fall in this category, and Trump's winning them by a little bit over 12. East Orthodox, Trump's up a lot with those. He's up quite a bit with those. Mormon, Trump is killing it with them. Jewish, Harris is only up 10 points. That's not a great margin. Muslim, Harris is still doing well with them, but Trump is at about 30. Other religion is quite a bit. And then no religion, Harris is killing it with no religion, which is crazy. The atheists, she's blowing it out the park with those. And with unlikely voters, Donald Trump is actually leading with those. So again, very interesting stuff there. Kind of gives Trump a little bit of a boost in some of the head-to-head matchups. So Donald Trump overall is improving with all demographics than last time. He's improving quite substantially to the point where it's like, it doesn't make any sense. And here are the approval numbers for Harris, which is interesting. Right now, her strongly disapprove is right now would be, if we were to add that up, let's see what that actually adds up to. We could check right now and see what that adds up to. 38 plus 10.3, that's 48.9% disapproval. And then when you add up the favorability rating, she's at 46.5. And when you look at the strongly approve and somewhat approve for Donald Trump right now, he's at around 52%. Guys, the approval ratings are very accurate when predicting the presidential elections. Trump, according to this, is at 52.2% in terms of the way he handled his job. He's at 52%. Harris is at 46%. The third parties are technically hurting Donald Trump based off the polling data. So Trump leading by 3 to 4 would kind of actually make sense. But when you take the approval ratings on face value of 52, and well, I believe her approval rating is going to end up rounding off to 47. It's Trump plus 5 in terms of the spread in favorabilities. And the approval ratings always tend to be really accurate. They always tend to be super accurate. Biden's was accurate in 2020. Trump's was accurate. The spread between Clinton and Trump was accurate when you factored in that Clinton was losing ground with third parties. Again, I'm just saying. And third parties tend to throw things off with the percentages. If he's at 52 and Harris is at around 46, 47%, I'm telling you right now, Donald Trump is going to have a very easy electoral college win. It would be a super easy electoral college win if Trump is actually up by that much. If Trump's really up by that much, he's up by 5, we would go back to the Joe Biden matchup levels. Like, we'd be going back to that kind of margin. And based off the groups he'd be improving with, Delaware and New Jersey would probably be within 5. Colorado would probably be within 5. This breakdown model that we have already has Colorado within 7. So it would obviously be lean. Hawaii would be somewhat competitive. At that point, Georgia and North Carolina, those are gone. Arizona, Nevada, was the Rust Belt is completely in lockstep for Donald Trump as well. Alaska would be safe. Maine's first would be likely still. Maine at large, those would be lean states, including Virginia and New Mexico. New York would be within a few points, and Minnesota and Nebraska second would be going red. So literally, if Trump was actually up by 5, and again, the approval ratings are always super accurate. They're always very, very accurate. I'm telling you right now, especially with a pollster that always tends to be right when these presidential elections, Trump in the approval rating spread is up by 5. And this would be the map if he was winning the popular vote by 5. So I'm just making it very clear. Donald Trump is the favorite to win. I don't care what anybody's telling you right now. Trump is the favorite to win. Now, it doesn't mean don't go vote. It's not what I'm saying. But I'm trying to give everybody an accurate picture of the race. I'm trying to give the best possible picture I can of the presidential race. And right now, I see that Donald Trump's up by around 2.8% in the national popular vote. He's favored in pretty much all of the key battleground states where the election's going to be decided. And based off of my election model, this is the toss-up map that I have based on all the simulations we've ran for the model. You could even argue that Nevada is pretty much going to Trump too, based on the model we have, because on the lower end of his results, if we go to those really quickly, he's not. If we were to go to those right now, look at this simulation, we see Donald Trump is almost at a 70% odd to win 66% right now. And if we go to the histogram, which is one of my favorite things to look at now in terms of predicting the electoral college count, we see all of the results with Trump above 75 range from 275 to 298. All of the Harris results that have over 75 counts out of the 1,000 simulations range from Harris 235 to Harris 267. So, depending on how high your tolerance rate is on some of these results, Harris is not even winning the Electoral College with a higher tolerance of 75 count. She's not even winning the Electoral College in any of the scenarios that have above 75 counts out of the 1,000. She is not winning the Electoral College. And if you count everything above 50, her lower end is 211. The high end for Trump is 322. That's what I have. If you want to go down to 25, her floor is 187 and Trump's ceiling is 346. And that kind of lines up with the approval ratings having Trump up by 5, and those tend to be more accurate. So everything that I've talked about in this video has that in my election model. Everything that I've talked about in this video, according to my election model, at least has over 25 possible simulations out of the 1,000 we've conducted based out of the model that we have. And so, guys, you can believe 538 all you want. You can believe whoever you want. But I'm telling you right now, I'm going to be the most accurate person in this. Like, it's just going to happen because I'm putting in the work to give you guys an accurate picture of the race. Yes, I do support Donald Trump, but at the same time, I'm still going to do this in an unbiased manner. That's why I'm creating these election models. That's why I'm working so hard, working with other people, collaborating with other pollsters who've gotten it right. I'm not collaborating with Nate Plastic or any of these people who are Democrat propagandists. I'm not doing that either. Right now, Donald Trump is the favorite to win with a 66% chance of winning the presidential election. And Harris's path right now is very, very narrow. So, guys, if you guys did enjoy the video, make sure to hit the like button and to subscribe if you want more content just like this. And I will see you guys in the next video.